Minasan, aisai, ohayou gozaimasu. Good morning. Watashi no name wa Brandon desu. My name is Brandon, um, also known as the Oxygen Hunter in fishing group Okinawa. I have been kayak fishing in Okinawa for about 3 years. I was using a Perception Pilot before that, which served me very well. Loved that kayak, but decided that I wanted to get an upgrade. And when I saw this absolutely beautiful 2020 Outback, I knew exactly that that's what I wanted. Waited for about 3 months to get it, and 3 months of planning, 3 months of mental rigging. It got here 2 days ago, this kayak, and spent about 20, 12 to 15 hours rigging it. Very little sleep the last 3 days. That's all I'm gonna say. In this hot Okinawa weather, and I'm snagged up. So like I said, I've been doing this for about 3 years. I want to give a shout out to a few people. First off is Joe. Joe has a YouTube channel, Facebook page, Okigulz. He's actually the one who got me started into kayak fishing. I watched one of his videos, decided, why am I not doing that? And joined him. Our first day on the water was 12 hours, and it was summer, so it was hot. Now, he is now in Virginia, and he's actually meeting up with another one of our Okinawa members, Lowrance, he's a NautiFish Outfitters. Look him up on Facebook. Another great guy. In California, the other guy that I wanted to give a shout out to, who has a YouTube channel, is Andre TopBreeze. All I'm going to say about Andre is he has a very unique style. When you watch him fishing, you'll go, what? That's not going to work. And then dude hooks up. And a lot of our guys, whenever they're new, we tell them, don't buy new gear. Don't go out and buy new gear. Go out a few times, see what you're interested in, see what other people are doing, and then really see which type of fishing you are most interested in doing. Because going out and buying a bunch of gear is probably not going to work out well for you, and in all honesty, you're probably going to buy the wrong stuff. Now, while I love throwing the vibe, my big thing, what I love to do, is jig. And when I say jig, between 40 and 100 meters. So to all my stateside viewers, I apologize. Everything that I do when it relates to fishing is on the metric. And the reason for that is because of our metered line. And whenever I'm on a boat and I ask captain, how deep the fish are, if he says 20 meters off bottom, then I know that with my reels being between 100 and 120 centimeters per crank, I need to crank about 20 times. Or if I'm using non-metered line, or one that doesn't follow that ratio, then I need to count the, I need to count the metered line. So specifically slow pitch jigging. Now I got into, oh, got a fish! I got into slow pitch jigging about, feels like a kuchinaji, 2 years ago, and absolutely loved the concept of it. It's relaxing. So this is a kuchinaji. I believe it's called a red throat emperor, and they don't get much bigger than that, but in all honesty, during the summertime, they're not the best tasting fish. During the winter, when they have more fat on them, they're definitely tastier. So he's gonna go back and get a little fatter, I hope, for winter. Come on, buddy. There you go. So that's what I love to do, is kayak fishing. And actually right where I caught him, there's a school of those kuchinagi. They like to sit right where the sand starts going into a dune, and then there'll be rocks on top. And the kuchinagi hang out in that area. Where I'm heading now, I'm drifting over a point. It went from 15 sloped up to 10, and then there's some rock structure on top. If I had lighter lures with me, then if I were to fish this top structure, then I would probably find some nice little grouper on there. So, but that's not what I'm looking for. All right, so for my fishing name, Okinawa Hunter. I just love Okinawa for various reasons. Market value on them is extremely good. They're delicious year-round. Amazing white meat. When I'm able to find one that does not have parasites, it's excellent sashimi. If you don't know what you're doing with sashimi, I highly recommend that you don't do it. I have a local buddy, a chef, who has helped me look at all that stuff. So I'm actually getting some good marks again. Oh. So the other thing that I wanted to do was go ahead and go from bow to stern on everything that I've done with my kayak, just kind of as the introduction to the kayak now that I've introduced myself. Again, it is a hibiscus red Hobie Outback. Starting in the front, I went ahead and added those goofy graphics that Hobie gives you. The only reason why I went ahead and put those on there is because they are reflective. Oh, I got another one on. Did I get another one? Yeah, it feels like a small grouper. I've got the marine deck mat from, ooh, that's actually feeling pretty good. I've got the marine deck mat from the complete kit. It's the red on black. I really didn't want, I really didn't want too much of a color change on the mat between the kayak. So that's why I decided to go with that. Oh, second fish, and that's the fish I'm looking for. Yeah, buddy. That right there is an Okigulz. Now, he's not very big, and unfortunately I do not have a ruler. When I asked Marine Matt to make this for me, I had them put a measuring device here, but in all honesty, I have no idea what it is, and I haven't checked. But this guy was not sitting very deep. That right there is the fish that I'm looking for, but he is kind of small, so actually I'm going to keep him. He's a good family size to eat. So let's go ahead and take him off here. And the commercial fishermen, pretty much anything over 1 kilo is they say it's good to keep. And he's definitely over 1 kilo. I can double check that real quick. He stops flopping around. Yep, he's just over 1 kilo. So what I like to do with these guys is I have a ice pick, and the first thing I'm going to do before I cut their gills is go through their brain. And the reason for doing that is I want to put him out of his misery so that his nerves stop sending toxins to the meat to ruin it. So I hope that you're able to see that tail shake that I just did. He is now dead. Now his heart is going to continue beating just because it is a automatic organ. In other words, it's not something that any animal controls. So after I've killed him, I can then cut his gills. And his heart will continue pumping blood through his system to bleed out this meat. This part's important because it preserves the quality of the fish. You get to actually taste the meat instead of the meat with that's rotting because of the proteins of the shock of going through death. You just saw that from the time I caught him until I put him out of his misery was fairly quick. And again, dude's not moving. He's dead. So that's definitely the way to do it. If this were a larger one, there's another method that I can show later on YouTube called ikejime, and it actually severs the nerves all the way down the spine. Probably won't actually. There's a bunch of YouTube videos on it already, but that right there is the fish that I'm looking for. And I don't have a string or anything to put him on so he can bleed out. Different kayak. I gotta figure this stuff out. Let's see, what can I do? I'll do this. I'm gonna put him in the net. Bam. And then go like that. And then he can bleed out just like that. Beautiful. Okay. All right, so going back to the kayak. I have the FPV Power 17.5 lithium battery on the mast pole holder thingy. I just have half the paddle with the Pro Angler T cap. The fish finder, it is a Lowrance 9 Ti2, the Elite, with the 3-in-1. Buddy recommended that I trash that one and get a transducer with 55 hertz so I can fish in deeper water, but decided that I don't fish in deep water that often, so it's really not worth it. The rod holders, they are the standard Hobie rod holders here. Now, one of the things that I do, that I believe everyone should do, is they should recognize people that they got ideas from. I apologize, I do not know the gentleman's name, but he does the island hooking and out of Hawaii. And I was watching one of his videos and I noticed out of the corner of the video these outriggers, and they had that the protective cover for the rods, and I thought, man, that's a good idea. It actually makes it much quieter whenever a lure or a jig or something hits it. The other thing about it is it's soft and it's nice to hold on to. And I also figured that if I were to ever be in a flipping situation, the metal itself is actually quite slippery, and the that grip gives you something to hold on to. Now, what else do I got? Oh, okay, so I've got the Yak Power. It is the wired version. I have a few button lights, but nothing special. Just so that when I'm launching in the morning, it's easier to find gear, anything if I absolutely need it. I have the Bixpy with the power pole mount on the back. It's a great power assist. Coming out here as soon as I hit first light, I was able to do around 7 kilometers per hour while pedaling, which is really good. I believe on the pilot, um, I had to put the Bixby at max speed and pedal to get that speed. So I'm kind of excited to see at the end of a long day how fast this kayak is gonna go when I put it on max speed to head in. Um, Again, pedal assist, you cannot use this as an all-day motor to get around. I thought about the Torqeedo, I really did, but the health benefits of being out and fishing and trying to be physically active was more important. So I stuck with the Bixby. Now, the reason for the Bixby is because there's been a few situations that I've been in that were not good. I was at a high flow point, and whenever we get new people to the island, I tell them, if you're gonna go to a new point, send me a PM and ask me. Because, oh, there's another one. Oh, he came off. Because if you don't, and you end up at a bad point, there's a good possibility that you're gonna be in a place that's not good, and you're gonna be in a position that I was in. So, sorry, sidetracked. I'm getting all kinds of nibbles, probably triggerfish and freaking trumpets. Oh, you know what? I'm either wrapped up or got a small grouper on there. So I went out, and I was out with a guy named Dane, and we launch and we get out. See, wrapped up. And he looked at the conditions and he was like, Brandon, there ain't no way we're going out there. I said, okay, well, I'm gonna head out there. It'll be fine. So I get out there. Swells aren't a big deal, but what I had not anticipated was the speed of the current. And I get out to the point, I look at the fish finder, it's exploding with bait balls. I drop my jig, and I'm watching the fish finder, and this was before I knew anything about putting like the speed over ground or anything else on the screen. And I look up, and the island that I was using for my point of reference was in the distance. And I must have been drifting at like 6-7 kilometers an hour. And so I pull up the jig and I start heading back towards my point of reference, and it was less than 5 minutes, and it took over 3 hours to correct that mistake. And that was a rough experience. It was a good experience, and I'm happy it happened because now I know better. Now, the second thing that happened is there's a place in Kunigami that is rarely visited by anybody, and it's very remote. There's no way to get to it from shore. And I really wanted to fish there. So one day I decided to do it. And when I say it's really remote, I mean it took 3 or 4 hours to actually get to this point. And on the way, I was stopping, I was fishing, I was enjoying myself, I was calling my buddies on the radio, checking in every now and then. And it's wintertime-ish, so it's cool. But the other thing about wintertime-ish is the days are much shorter. And I think it was like 2:30, 3 o'clock. And I realized, oh man, I've got to start heading back. And I've got like a 3-4 hour pedal in front of me. I hope I can make it. And so, yeah, I just started pedaling as fast as I could. And this was on the Perception Pilot. And I did it for like an hour and a half straight. And I was pedaling and I was using my hands to help assist, and wore me out. About halfway, I decided to stop and hooked up on a really nice 5 kilo Okigulz. And then after I finished resting, decided it was time to head back in. And again, just another hour and a half, 2 hours of just straight pedaling. And I literally pulled up on the beach as the sun was going down. And yeah, I've got triggerfish or something hitting my lure because they keep on wrapping it. And the triggerfish or the trumpet fish, what they'll do is when they hit the back of this lure, they swing it around and the hook wraps around the line. It's really annoying. So that was the reason for the Bixpy. Now, the other thing that I've got going on back there, and I've mentioned it now in a few forums, is the Spanker Sail. Now, I know a lot of guys are probably looking at that going, okay, there's no reason for that. Later on, the wind is supposed to pick up a little bit. And when it does, I won't say constantly, but frequently, you have to take your hand off the rod and reel to adjust the steering. And whenever you do that, you're no longer fishing. You've removed the power device, or the, see, I keep on getting hits, from the reel. So whenever I take my hand off the reel and I get a nibble like that because I'm having to steer, that's a fish that I'm missing. Man, there's a bunch of little fish down there. They keep on tapping it. So the cooler that I use is massive. It's kind of ridiculous. It's a Yeti 65. And when I say it's massive, it's not massive actually. I mean, the Hobie soft coolers, well, the reliable coolers in general, once you get to the large size, the capacity of them are really good. But in all honesty, I hate bags. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know about the reliable or the Hobie or the reliable product that is Hobie. But the 2 or 3 guys that I know that have fish bags, at the end of the day, they have to put their fish bag in a cooler because it is just dripping blood and water. And I'm sorry, but why should I have to take 2 coolers? It doesn't make sense. So ultimately, in my mind, 1 cooler, I've got the Yeti, I'm good to go. I love Yeti. I have several of them. I use them for different things. And I wanted to keep Yeti, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to, that feels like another oxygen. Well, it's a type of grouper. I don't know if it's a coral trout, a grouper, or one of those, not blue spot grouper, peacock grouper, that's what they are. Those peacock groupers. They're fun to catch, but they're not very tasty. This may or may not be a grouper. I don't know. It is not. What is this guy? Ooh, so this is another really good fish, and he's foul hooked, so I hope I don't lose him. Oh, he's hooked now, good. This is a Tamon, and he's kind of small. They get a lot bigger than that, but he's definitely table size. And honestly, it's the first time out in the kayak, so I think it's going to be pretty hard to get me to throw something back. So yeah, so this right here is a Tamon, Spangled Emperor, absolutely delicious fish. Now with my fish, same thing. the first thing that I'm going to do is remove the hooks, because I don't want those getting me on accident. Put that down. By the way, Hobie, the layout of this kayak, I absolutely love it. This thing is just so well thought out. It makes so much sense. All right, so I think I missed the brain on that one. There we go. Yeah, see that tail shake? I've got his nerves. Got his brain. Oh, come on, buddy. I know, sorry. He might be dead now. Okay. Yeah, I've got brain juice coming out. Yay! And then bleed him out. And Tamon actually have a fairly good amount of blood, so he's going to bleed out a little bit longer. And I'm going to put this fish right here beside me, and I'm going to keep fishing because I'm seeing some decent marks here. So he's going to go there, let him bleed out a little bit. That might work. We'll see if I can get another one. Again, not big, but it's a decent size. So kayak fishing, and I don't know if it's like this in the rest of, I don't know if it's like this in other places around the world, but for me, I find the two best times to be out here doing this is be on point at first light, no exception. The second point is at low tide. So those are the two times that I have the best luck with any type of fishing, whether it be the lure casting or the jigging. Came off. Actually, that might have been a rock or coral. Oh, they've got something chasing it. A small grouper or something. So yeah, those are the two time of days, morning and, oh yeah, that's that peacock grouper I was talking about. Yeah, he got off. I'm not a fan. Let's see what I'm doing here. Now, one of the things that I like about my navigation unit is that it has mapping. I have the Lowrance card, and so I am able to see where the structure is. And so when I'm casting a good distance out, I know that I am not going to cast over a structure and ultimately get hooked up. Now, the Lowrance data to begin with is absolutely horrible. The contour lines are nothing like they should be. But as you go out and you visit a place more frequently, and you put your pins, one of the things that I would highly suggest against, and I'm guilty of it sometimes, is dropping your pins and then going to the same place over and over and over again, because you're going to fish that place out, and it's not going to be good anymore. So it's good, even though you found a good spot, let that spot be. Keep on exploring that area and see if you can find more good spots. because when you come to a day where fishing is just not looking so great, you'll have another spot nearby that you can go try. So yeah, don't get hung up on it's caught up again, or it's a small grouper. So don't get caught up in going to the same places over and over and over again. It's just a really bad habit. I like the mapping for the contour lines, but the pins is something that I'm really cautious to put down, because I don't want to frequent that place over and over and over again, because I know that it's a good spot. So that's my opinion on dropping the pins. What else do I got going on with this kayak? The H-rails. Now, I was gonna get the standard Outback ones, but I decided that I wanted the extra length behind me so that I can add the rod holders. I can spread them out a little bit more. At some point, if I want to, there's so many good marks right below me right now. At some point, if I want to add more rods, I can definitely do that. You know, I can go out with 6 rods easy, just by adding these rod holders. The other thing that I like about them is that I can position them the way that I want them. The one thing that I do not like about the molded in is that the angle is set, and it's usually set at an angle to where the rod is going out. And that's a problem whenever you fish with a team or you fish with buddies, because whenever they need help, or you just need to come right up next to them for some reason, you can't, because your rods are tangling and it's just a nasty mess. So that's why I got these rod holders with the H-rails. The install on them turned out really nice. I really do like them. I got the circle hatch in the back. And I actually put this is gonna sound goofy, but I actually put like a survival kit in there. Those thermal blankets, matches, fire starter, that kind of stuff, a compass, stupid stuff that you hope that you never need. But those 2 experiences that I was just talking about, those remote areas that I fished and really put myself in a bad situation, you know, looking at other beaches that I could possibly go into to stay the night if it got dark and I could no longer see, just if I couldn't make it back into shore. And so I've always thought to myself, well, I kind of need a survival kit, you know, just in case. Because, you know, if you need a beach somewhere for the night, that's not like a life or death situation. I mean, I can call my wife and be like, hey, look, this is what happened. I'm an idiot. Sorry. I'll be home tomorrow instead of today. And there's no reason for anyone to call the Japanese Coast Guard or anyone else. Just as long as, you know, I can somewhat make myself comfortable, I'll be just fine. So that's what I have in the very back, in the circle hatch. And not sure if I said it, but it is all waterproofed. Most of the rod holders and everything, so most of the other gadgets that I have on here are going to be Yak Power. I like Yak Power for the primary reason that it is made in America. It's why I have a Yeti. It's why I have the Outback. It's why I have the Hobie. I wish more manufacturers would make stuff in America, because being an American, I want to support my country. And one of the best ways to do that is financially, either by supporting a small business or by supporting companies that support Americans by hiring them. It's unfortunate that we get so many products from outside source, and we have become a service industry. You know, but beside that, made in America, Yak Attack, thank you for doing that. Hobie as well. Yeti, same. I wish you would make a smaller cooler, shallower, for the purpose of kayaks. But I guess you won't. So, oh, that was a nice little tug. I missed a nice little tug. Oh, that was another nice little tug. Actually, it feels like squid, but I know it's not. So it's kind of frustrating. So what just happened was a bad cast. As the lure was reaching its destination in the water, it was spinning, and so I knew that it wasn't flying right. So went ahead and brought it in and reset it. That was a nice smooth one. God, it is just such a beautiful morning. All right, so the lures. Anyone in Okinawa knows that this is like the best lure. And if you have access to them, you're in Okinawa yourself, and you want to give it a try, don't. Especially if you are new to lure casting. If you're new to lure casting, Daiso, the 100 yen store, the $1 store, they have vibes. Get those. In the fishing store, on the bottom shelf, there are discount vibes. Get those. And the reason is because you are going to lose them, and you will probably lose them all. You'll lose them because of bad knots. You'll lose them because of getting snagged and not being able to get unsnagged. But give yourself, unless you're just amazing at it, several months to figure out how to unsnag them from the reef. Once you've figured that out, then go ahead and by all means, go ahead and then start buying the more expensive tungsten vibes. Now, these vibes, I think they're $16 a pop. They're 40 grams and matched with light PE line, which is what we call braid here in Japan, and a short leader. They dive down fairly quickly, and they have a really nice action on them. Again, just can catch fish all day long doing this. I will use them from about 15 meters to casting them around 15 to 40-ish meters. If I'm out deeper, I can actually still use them. I mean, and when I say that, I mean like down to about 60 meters. And they're really effective that deep if the drift is correct. And in that case, I can drop them straight down. And if the drift is between 1.5 to 2.5 kilometers per hour, I can just let that drift about 5 meters off bottom, and fish will come up from bottom and try to snack on it. I've caught nice Okigulz and Tamon doing that. No action to it at all. Just let it cruise. Every now and then you do need to re-drop it, because as you're drifting, the line goes out and it actually brings it up off bottom. So you need to double check the depth by dropping it back down and seeing about where it is. As the lure gets further and further to the side of my boat, I will start bringing it up more than 5 meters. Just because I know that at an angle, 5 meters is not 5 meters off bottom. It's probably like 2 or 3. So I'll start bringing it up around, 8 to 10, just so that I can be sure to get it well off bottom, because I don't want to snag anything. That might be a decent fish. Let's see what this is. Nah, it's not a decent fish. Oh, it is. Oh, it is. Oh, it is. Oh, I love redfish. Yes, come here. So, another snapper. Sorry, I don't know what it's called. But yeah, this is another really good one. So, same process as before. Hooks out. Ooh. Brain. Which I missed. There it is. Okay. And then skizzers. I think my Tamon is pretty well bled out, so I'm going to put him on ice. Now, for our Okinawa people, or anyone in Okinawa, what I suggest is for ice, not on base, not at AFIs, not at the convenience stores. but see if you can find ice at your local port. Because the quantity of it is so much more than what you get by buying the bags. It's 500 yen, and I can fill up my Yeti 65 between halfway and 3/4. And so before I hit the water, I have to dump ice. And because of that, Joe, one of the nicknames that he gave me was Iceman, because I was always trying to give away my ice in the morning. And that's not a bad thing, you know, people always need extra ice. Or they don't have time to go to the port after work the day before to get that ice. So it's good. What's going on here? Okay, so I'm sitting on top of a ridge. I just cast it out to some deeper water, it looks like. God, that fish stank. Man, it was a stinky fish. Now, one of the things that I absolutely love about kayak fishing is I don't have to rely, I'm either wrapped up on myself or small grouper. I don't have to rely on anyone else to get hooked up. Let's say that you book a trip with your favorite charter service and you have bad weather coming in. Well, they might have to cancel because of the bad weather, but on the opposite side of the island, close to shore, it's beautiful weather. It's flat like this, no evidence of a major storm brewing on the other side. So the availability of just being able to choose based on weather. The next is being able to choose based on depth that I want to fish. Now, this being my first day out, it was extreme, like first day out with the introduction of Poseidon's Skillet. It was extremely difficult trying to figure out where I wanted to actually launch from. The area that I'm in now, max depth is around 45 meters. It doesn't get very, max depth is around 55 to 60 meters. It doesn't get very deep unless you go way out there. And with as hot as it is, or as it's going to be, it's just not worth going out that far. But then there are other places that it's really deep close to shore. There's a nice ledge that goes straight to that deep water, and that can be a lot of fun, that ledge. But then you're just primarily doing the jigging. And seeing as how I started out kayak fishing, throwing the vibe, I wanted my first video, first official video for Poseidon Skillet, to show the successfulness of this vibe and just how fun it is. I mean, I've already got 3 decent fish this morning. So it's avoiding weather, and it is choosing the location just depending on how I feel like fishing that day, or the day before. The other thing is being stuck on a boat with a bunch of people, and I am antisocial, I get that, but being on a boat with a bunch of people that don't know what they're doing, it can be fun if I have the thought in my mind that I'm going out with a group of friends and I'm going to teach them how to do something. It is different when I'm paying to go on a charter service and I have a bunch of freaking noobs. I'm sorry. Because I have a bunch of noobs on the boat and they're targeting these tiny tuna or these tiny mahi, and they're crossing my deep drop tuna line. Now, they're open sea charters, yeah, I get it. But let the babies live. And once you've caught a few of those, then try to go deeper. Try to do something a little bit different to hook up on the fish. Go on bigger fish. Now the other thing, some nice marks 5 meters off bottom. Oh, there's a nice mark mid-water column, 15 meters. I'm gonna jig up through them real quick. 16, 22. All right, I kind of went into this crevice in this rock, so I'm gonna turn around and hit that crevice again. Okay, so here's the other thing about, so I'm actually sitting at 25 meters and I'm about to cast onto a mound that comes up to 15 meters. And so I've got to be really careful in doing this. So I should actually just be landing near the top of that. And then there should be fish sitting on the top of that. So going back to why I love the kayak fishing. The other thing about it is I've been on charters and you get to a point and the Japanese are really respectful and they don't say no, they go, and that means no. And ultimately, there's no fish there. But then they say, okay, drop your lines. And you're like, I'm looking at your screen. I just saw you turn up the sensitivity on your monitor. I know there's no fish here. Why are we fishing here? And so that's the other part, is just lazy captains. And I've seen them with several different charter services. So it's just annoying. Now, it goes, so talking about captains. Now, there is the complete opposite case where I am with an amazing captain and he's working hard to find his fish. And you know that towards the middle and then towards the end of that trip, he is so sorry that he was not able to find fish that bite. And that's the other thing that bothers me about charter services. I wish that the captains understood, I wish the customers would understood that that's why it's called fishing. It's not called catching, it's fishing. It's not a guarantee that the fish are going to be biting. In all honesty, it was, I think, near a full moon last night from the looks of it. It's a very small tide change this morning. There's nothing busting up top. There's no birds. I'm honestly surprised I'm catching as many fish as I am this morning. A decent fish too. I wish good captains would relax and not feel bad when that's how the day turns out. There are plenty of days when I am out on the kayak. Actually, I take that back, they're not. I usually do fairly well. There used to be days out on the kayak that I could not find fish that would bite. And nowadays, that's typically not the case. And you know, if you're willing to keep fish like the three that I've caught so far, you're definitely going to go home with something. But I'm definitely getting the technique down. Okay, I'm about to cast into some deeper water. But yeah, I wish captains wouldn't feel so bad. Whenever it's a slow day, because again, it happens. Another reason why I love the kayak, the range that I fish. Now, I'm actually sitting on a spot right now where there's usually some commercial boats. And so it's, again, the timing this morning for the fishing to be good, it was not supposed to happen. So that's why I don't see any fishing boats out here. But from the kayak, so before I get into that, fishing in Okinawa. If anyone ever tells you the fishing in Okinawa is absolutely fantastic, it's great, they are lying. It is not. It's not as bad as Hawaii. Mahalo, sorry guys. But it's bad. It's Japan. The primary meat on any family's plate is fish. And all the Japanese islands, mainland, Okinawa, all the way down, they're all fished out. They're not fished out, but it's hard. And so, especially shore fishing is so difficult. And so whenever people hook up on a small fish from shore, they should be proud of that accomplishment, because that's not something that happens often. And that's primarily why I decided to get a kayak, so that I could get away from all the crowds of people who are filling the shoreline with bait. Also, a lot of the commercial boats, most of the commercial boats, they're not going to hug in this close to shore. And whenever they do, they anchor. And when they anchor, they're doing sabiki. You know, they're looking for kuchinaji, or the red-throat emperor, or the gurukun. And they're not targeting predatory species. And so fishing from the kayak, I'm able to fish in this range, be maneuverable, and be highly successful. I've got a bait ball out behind me. In all honesty, it's probably trevally hitting the bait. And sorry guys, but jacks, trevally, they're disgusting. They are not good fish. Well, if there's trevally, maybe there are some big tamon. So let's go see. Another kuchinaji. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Oh. And this, gentleman, is what you are looking for. That is a beautiful fish. That is why I am called the Okinawa hunter, because I know, because I have a lot of success with these guys. This one like totally swallowed this lure too. It's insane. So, the first good Okinawa. Brain. That was air bladder. There it is. Okay, so that was his brain. He is good now. Beautiful fish.